it is.
Hello, Wiki Peeps. Welcome to this edition of the WikiTree Livecast, brought to you from sunny Ottawa today. It's sunny here. Today we have Em Macbeth is going to help me. She is the project coordinator for the DNA project. We're going to be going over some slides and talking about matching and DNA on WikiTree. And Eowyn Langhoff is filling in for Julie Ricketts, who is out wearing, I think, hip-hugging pants and streamers, and she's got long hair, and she's standing in front of a mic singing. She is playing with her friends. They all have a band, so they're getting together and playing today. Isn't that fun?
Didn't know that.
Julie's not here. It's too bad we don't have a camera on Julie right now. We could like go live to see what she's singing.
That would be so cool.
It would be. So Eowyn is Julie today. She's handling questions, moderating questions from the chat to see what's up and what kind of questions people have. It's a DNA live cast, so we often have lots of people who show up for these and ask questions. But first off, Eowyn, I just wanted to ask you if there was any extra takeaway from our great time that we had with the clean-a-thon.
Yeah, well, first of all, the results were amazing. I mean, WikiTree has really stepped up over the weekend, and it was pretty awesome to watch. We've had a lot of requests to have ways to keep it going, and so looking at just like maybe having error reports for projects so that the members have something right away they can work on. And then we had talked in the G2G about maybe doing some different themes where we post different error reports for people to work on. So I think we're going to see a lot of good stuff kind of continue on from the clean-a-thon, which is awesome.
That is great. That is great. And Emma was saying just a few minutes ago that she went through her error report and she found new errors in her stuff. And she's like, where did those come from? I think that I think on Tuesday, Alesh did the run on Tuesday instead of Monday like normal. So you might have new errors popping up that you didn't know about before. You know, it almost feels like I'm waiting for Alesh to show up now. Because he showed up to so many of the hangouts while we were doing the Source-a-thon, which was great fun. So I keep looking down, hoping I see Alesh's cute face pop up. It's a great day. It's great fun to be on WikiTree, and we're so excited about how well the Source-a-thon turned out and how incredible that we got so many errors cleaned up. I mean, everybody works on cleaning up errors constantly. I do, Emma does, Eowyn does, everybody does. But to have a concerted effort knock out so many errors on WikiTree, it's incredible.
Well, and Alesh was telling me that we probably add about 5,000 new errors a week, but we clean up like about 10,000. So we're a little bit ahead.
So we're going to be we'll knock all that stuff out. Yeah. Onward and upward, as Chris says. And moving on, we want to go ahead and start our DNA chat. We have great DNA information. Is everybody seeing that? Is that up on everybody's screen now? Eowyn and Emma? Yeah, okay, great. So we'll get started with our DNA information. WikiTree and DNA matching, and WikiTree.
Woohoo.
WikiTree connects. WikiTree doesn't offer DNA testing. No, we don't. We don't host DNA test results. We don't upload you don't upload your DNA to WikiTree. And WikiTree focuses on what we do best, and that's genealogical collaboration.
We specialize in helping you share and collaborate with your matches.
We also approach things from the opposite direction.
We connect distant cousins who might be matches so they can compare test results. I like your guy.
WikiTree is a, what's that, Emma?
I said I like your guy.
It's actually Chris's guy. I stole him. I steal all these graphics. WikiTree is a global family tree and can include relatives, living relatives for your ancestors, all of our ancestors, not just yours. I want to say at this point that at the end of this, I've got a citation for a G2G post that I'm grabbing a lot of some of this information from that was going on. We'll talk about that at the very end. So it's about everybody's living descendants and ancestors, and WikiTree is great about being a global family tree that connects everybody. So there's one profile per person ever on WikiTree.
So add your DNA test information to WikiTree, and you'll get this spiffy DNA tested badge. I love the spiffy badges.
But
Individuals, living people, take various DNA tests and upload their results to other third-party sites for comparison with each other. And on WikiTree, you can indicate on your own profile that you've taken a DNA test and where someone else might find your DNA test results, your data, for comparison.
So I just want to reiterate, because this question comes up a lot, we don't upload raw DNA to WikiTree. We upload where we took the tests, and if we took that if we uploaded our raw DNA to, say, GEDmatch, then we'll upload our GEDmatch kit number. Then WikiTree walks the tree, which is a very cool feature, indexing your DNA test information and other DNA test takers' information along the ancestral lines, creating lists of DNA tested members which appear on profiles of shared ancestry. And you have a cool picture of what that looks like.
And this box appears over on the right side of every WikiTree profile. If you don't have any DNA connections, then you won't have a spiffy box. You'll have a little box that says, do you have DNA information to add? So you get this great box that lists information, and this is for one of my great-great-grandfathers, like 5th grade, James Donahue. And you can see that there are quite a few people who have taken DNA tests. They are all a part of the DNA One Name study on WikiTree, and which is something I need to get back to working on. I sent out a call to Donahue cousins to see if anybody had DNA testing, and I hit the mother lode. I found one cousin, I believe it was Marilyn McLeod, who said, yes, we have a bunch of DNA information, and all of those people joined WikiTree the next day and inundated me with piles and piles of information to add to WikiTree that I have not added yet. I am working on it, and I plan to be working on it, but I haven't gotten it all done. So you get all of this great information, and
I want to point out, can you go back to that, Max?
yeah, sure.
What I love about this on our ancestral profiles is these are people on WikiTree who have uploaded their GEDmatch numbers, and you can just go to GEDmatch and start plugging their numbers in and see if you're a DNA match.
Yes.
This way you can look up their shared DNA test information, which I just said, and compare it with yours to see if you're a match and how close.
Let's do that one again. It's so cute.
That is cute. Do we match?
Hey there. How you doing?
Hello, DNA cousin.
If you don't see any other names listed on your profile or profiles of your ancestors, you likely don't have any cousins who have reported taking a DNA test and added it to WikiTree, or you're not connected to them yet.
You could have a close relative who has taken a test, but because the connections have not been made on WikiTree, you'll not see the match.
For example, if you have a sibling added, but you haven't added profiles for their parents, you won't see the match.
Your solution is to review your tree in detail and make sure all ancestors and spouses are properly connected and there are no merges that need to be done. And I might add as well, not only spouses, but children as much as possible. Sometimes that child will be your link to one of your DNA cousins.
Right. After your DNA test results are in, you'll want to increase your opportunities for connecting matches. We've already mentioned this. The first step is to complete as much of your WikiTree family limbs as possible by adding to WikiTree.
Once the connections are made, consider using the matching tools on third-party sites like GEDmatch, as I mentioned, to find cousins that are on WikiTree and are also on GEDmatch.
And there are other sites as well besides GEDmatch. You can do matching on Family Tree DNA, and Family Tree DNA takes transfers from other companies so that you have your DNA test, say at Ancestry or 23andMe, you're in those pools. And I saw something this week saying that Ancestry was up to 4 million people that have been tested. And if you take your DNA from Ancestry and add that to Family Tree DNA's pool, then you're adding millions of people to Ancestry's 4 million. Then if you take it and you add it to GEDmatch, GEDmatch is a third-party site that will accept raw data from any of the companies. So you can add that to that. And I've never heard how many people are actually on GEDmatch, but since it's a pool of all of the companies, I'm thinking it's a pretty big pool to draw from. And the more pools you have your genes in, the more possibilities you have for making those matches. And with WikiTree, you can use the third-party information to help you find your matches on WikiTree. So if you want to find WikiTree DNA match connections, there's several ways that you can do it. You can scroll through your limbs and look on the right of each profile like we showed you just a bit ago and look in that box to see if there are any matches. You can use the DNA ancestor confirmation aid. Underneath the aid, there's a bunch of people listed there that are your DNA connections, and they'll show other people who connect as well. You could also use the DNA connections surname page. To do that, you can use the ancestors view list, and a new and exciting little thing, you can use the search results page as well. And we're going to go into those in a little bit deeper detail now. So here is a DNA page for a profile page for my fourth or fifth great grandfather, Charles Allen III. And over on the right, this is how you can find it if you're looking for it on profiles. You see all of the biographical information on the left, who he was, who he married, when he lived and when he died. There's categories there, and then templates, and underneath that would be the written biography. But over to the right, you will see the DNA connections, and you can see that on Charles Allen III's profile page, he's got Mark Eby, Sherry Bowers, Elaine Lures, myself, my dad, and my cousin Dee Templeton, all listed. So what I can do from there is take that information, and all of the people on that page, like Dee Templeton, my dad, myself, we all have GEDmatch numbers. And if you pop onto that page and you think you have a connection to Charles Allen III, you can go to GEDmatch and compare my information or my dad's or my cousin's and see if we match you. You could also, if you're on Family Tree DNA, you could type in my name into the search parameter on your matches page and see if my name comes up as one of your DNA matches. And if it does, you can grab more information about chromosomes, segment sizes, and do an actual comparison. And that helps when you're going back further and you want to do something called triangulation, where you get 2 or 3 people or 3 or 4 people who match, who are all creating a triangulated group of people who match, which can help prove your paper trail. But we'll get into that more probably in the next live cast.
So this is the connections on the DNA confirmation tool. And do you have a screen that shows where to find this, Max?
I do. If you go up to your, no, I don't actually. If you go up to your My Wikitree drop down and click your
DNA confirmation, right?
Right. Just click on DNA confirmation from your My Wikitree or the Wikitree ID one. You can click on DNA confirmation and it'll take you to this page. And you'll notice you've got DNA confirmation, DNA test, DNA descendants, and DNA ancestors. And we're going to go into DNA ancestors in a minute. But the DNA confirmation tool is one of those tools that shows you how you might be related to somebody. And here you have Peter Roberts, who is my favorite hero type person. He has done a lot to mentor me in my learning and understanding on DNA. Thank you very much, Peter. So if I get anything wrong, it's all Peter's fault. But Peter is the DNA guru, and he's one of Wikitree's DNA gurus, along with Blaine Bettinger and Kitty Munson and several others, Roberta Roberts. And you see Peter's information here. This is his grandfather, I believe. And on his grandfather's DNA confirmation page, you see that there's an anonymous Roberts who shares DNA information with Peter J. Roberts. And Peter has a note down here that they match 37 out of 37 markers. And he gives the Y-Search ID for both. So that you can, if you are working with Y DNA, you can go to Y-Search, and that's one of those third-party sites that does DNA matching, and look at the information and do more analysis in comparison with the Y-Search information for those 2 IDs.
Peter Roberts just joined the chat.
Oh, yay, Peter! Can somebody shoot Peter Eowyn, can you shoot Peter an invite? I don't see Eowyn. So
I think she left the building.
I would love to have Peter in here because we just started talking about him. Yeah, Peter, I don't have your invite for Grandma's Genes, which is the platform that I'm using. So I sent you an invite just a few minutes ago so I could send you the Hangout link, but I can't do that until you accept my invite. So if you accept my invite, I will send you the link. Because Eowyn is AWOL. So we are talking about Peter Roberts' ancestors connections on his confirmation tools page. And then the next one is connecting by surnames. And if you start, I'll follow along with you, Emma. If you notice, this is my profile page, and up in the right-hand corner are the drop-down menus. And from the drop-down menus,
I'm sorry, I'm a little lost.
you scroll down. We're talking about how to find DNA connections by surnames.
Okay.
So I went to my Wikitree drop-down menu, and I'm going to scroll down to surnames here. You see it highlighted.
Right.
And then I'm going to go to the surnames page, and I just scrolled down to Templeton. So here is my surname navigation page. And you notice that there's one down here that is Templeton DNA Connections. And you click on that, and it will give you a list of all the Templetons on Wikitree, every single one of them. And there's pages and pages and pages of them. And over here to the right, you see a list of test takers. These people have all taken DNA tests and have entered their DNA test information into WikiTree. So if I know that I have Aaron Templeton as one of the people in my tree, I will know that Virginia Carter and Raymond Bird over here to the right also have connections through DNA to them. And unfortunately, Virginia and Raymond have their privacy settings to red. What does that do to us, Emma?
That means we cannot see their DNA information.
And what should we do, Emma?
We should send them a polite little note and either ask them to change their privacy level or say, can you share your DNA information with me? Because I think we're cousins.
Yep, I think we have a match. And down below, you see Lola Lee has hers set at a privacy level that WikiTree can take that test information and auto-populate it throughout the tree, propagate it through the tree, so that Lola's DNA is going to go all the way back as far as it can, and my DNA will hopefully match hers at some point. And that's one way to see that. And then there are, and this is my favorite newest thing that Chris and the tech team, all the little chipmunks that run WikiTree have done recently. And you can find your WikiTree DNA connections on the search results page. So if you're on a WikiTree profile, there's a box at the top of each profile that says first name, last name, search, and then you can click the little thing that looks like a magnifying glass, and it will allow you to do a search. So I just typed in Charles Allen because we were talking about Charles a little while ago. And I'm scrolling down and looking at this, and I see that there's several Charles Allens, more than several. There's pages of them. And there's all sorts of ways that you can do searches. You can do a search based on last name at birth, first name. You can sort it by birth date, death date, and by profile manager, which doesn't really help if you're looking for DNA connections. But if you look over here to the right, there's a connection that there's a little icon at the end of each one of these that does different things. You can see the tree, or you can look at information right here. This one. Blow it up. You see the little AU and the little double helix?
DNA.
This is on a search page. If you click on that on the search page, you will get this. Charles Allen's DNA connections. It may be possible to confirm family relationships with Charles by comparing test results with other carriers of his ancestors' Y chromosome or mitochondrial DNA. However, there are no known Y or mitochondrial DNA test takers in his direct paternal or maternal line. It is likely that these autosomal DNA test takers will share DNA with Charles. And you see Sherry Komari Dial. And I haven't checked to see if she and I match autosomally, but I'm gonna as soon as we're done with this. And then you can also see Allen DNA Connections Index. So that is just so cool. Thank you, Chris, so much for getting that put together, and for the other WikiTree chipmunks who put that into action. This is so cool. You don't have to click on each person and go to their profile and then look over to the right when you do a search. If you're searching for somebody, you can just click on that one little link and it'll give you that pop-up to tell you if there are any DNA connections for that profile. And what a time saver for genetic genealogists in using WikiTree. Incredible. Incredible, powerful tool. Thank you. Then you can also go to the DNA Ancestors view, which was mentioned on the last one. Emma, I know this is my information, but do you want to go through it?
Sorry, I'm watching the feed at the same time.
Thank you very much for that.
So this is your ancestor view. And each person shows DNA information on them. And I'm going to assume, okay, the first two are your parents at the bottom, right?
Right.
Okay. So did they take the mitochondrial test and the autosomal test, or did that filter up to them from you?
That came up from me. My mother has passed, so she was not able to give me a test. But it's showing how my inheritance would go. But if you notice, the DNA for her and for my grandmother are marked as confirmed with DNA because I have a triangulated group to my 6th great grandmother who was born in 1793. There's a triangulated group that leads back to my mitochondrial DNA. So I do have that confirmed.
Nice.
My father did DNA tests, so I have confirmed our relationship. I have 2 people in my father's Y line, but they don't come in at the right place, so I can't do a triangulated match on them. But I do have a triangulated match on Sarah Frances Templeton, my grandmother, and going back through her Templeton line, I've been able to triangulate that proof. So this is what the page looks like. And then it'll go down here and it'll show mitochondrial DNA for Eunice Lord and for my mother. And it'll show my DNA connections all the way back. And it'll also show, it'll also show my X chromosome inheritance and whether or not there's a DNA test for those. This would be another really cool place to have that little DNA icon to be able to just have the whole list and have the ability to check very quickly to see if there are DNA connections on this as well.
Because Mags, all this does is show you who you might relate mitochondrial through and who you might relate on the X chromosome.
Right.
Right.
It doesn't have the little icon, and that's what I was saying. This would be a great place. But this also gives you an ability to find DNA connections, and all you have to do is click through the ancestor. I could click on Sarah Florida Welburn and see if she has any test connections on her profile as well. And this would be a great place to add the little icon so you could click on it and just have that pop-up come up real quickly. It would be a time saver for genetic genealogists. And the X chromosome list goes on for pages, or not pages. It's a very long list as well. I just caught a very small portion of it here to show. But this is another way that you can find your DNA match connections on WikiTree.
So WikiTree is lucky to have some professional geneticists and leaders in genetic genealogy participating in our community. We also have a lot of members, perhaps like yourself, who aren't experts but are learning and willing to help each other learn.
If you have questions, you can come to our Genealogist to Genealogist forum. We're not playing tennis. Forum, and ask whatever questions you have. Make sure that you tag your questions with DNA so that people in our DNA project and other people on WikiTree who are genetic genealogists or are interested in genetic genealogy can see your question, answer your question, or find the answers to their questions through your question. You can browse past DNA discussions by clicking DNA into the search, and you can also find the DNA frequently asked questions and answers on WikiTree's DNA features, which will be the subject of next week's live cast.
If you consider yourself a bit more experienced, have an interest in helping others, and might want to participate in discussions on how WikiTree can further integrate DNA, follow the tag DNA and consider joining our DNA project.
And the information that I stole from the G2G discussion was a discussion on how do I know if I have DNA matches in WikiTree. It was a question asked by Rod Trexler, and it was answered by Dennis Wheeler and Philip Smith. And when I was working up today's live cast, I thought that DNA discussion so eloquently addressed so many points in this and how to do DNA matching and how to use DNA matching with WikiTree that I thought that I would just use parts of that. So I have. There's also information on WikiTree, new member how to do DNA, and getting started with DNA. If you go to the category DNA, you'll get a really good step-by-step process for doing DNA on WikiTree. These slides will be posted to the DNA resources page, to the project page, and they will also be available on the multimedia project page under presentations. So that's it for that wonderful thing. Yay. Do we have any questions that have been popping up that you've been able to see, Emma?
No, I haven't seen any questions. Let's see, there was a suggestion. It was far back there. Magnus said, as GEDmatch knows what people we share DNA with, wouldn't it be cool to have an indication list database error if we share DNA with other people but are not connected?
That would be a really cool one. Alish, if you're watching, you should we should think about that. And Peter Roberts, I have to mention Peter again, that Peter is one of the people who's been most instrumental in getting WikiTree and GEDmatch together and getting their information going on WikiTree and GEDmatch. He's the one who did the integration. That's why when you go to GEDmatch and you're looking through information in the Tier 1 tools, you can find people with WikiTree IDs. Click on the WikiTree ID and it will take you immediately to that WikiTree profile. And that's one incredible new tool that we have, and that's all thanks to Peter Roberts and Curtis Rogers at GEDmatch. Thank you both very much. Any more questions? Any questions at all coming up?
Couple things. Peter Roberts says, one great feature is if you match someone in GEDmatch, then you can automatically see their 8th-generation ancestral tree if they have their GEDmatch ID on their profile in WikiTree.
Yes.
Charlotte, was it Charlotte who asked? Yes. Is a court-ordered DNA test enough to mark my dad as DNA confirmed?
A court-ordered DNA test. What kind of DNA test was that?
Charlotte will have to answer that. While we're waiting on that, Peter Roberts also says if you tested with 23andMe, you can enter the URL for your 8th-generation ancestral tree in WikiTree. That allows your matching relatives to see your shared ancestry in WikiTree. Haven't heard back from Charlotte yet, but.
Well, it depends on what kind of test it was. If it was a paternity test, I don't know how to use a paternity test genealogically. It's a different thing. If there was I doubt that a court order would require a genealogical test, like from Family Tree, Ancestry, or MyHeritage, or 23andMe. Peter might be able to speak better to that. But I don't think that a court-ordered test is a genealogical test. I think that's a different kind of test. And speaking of matching, the information about your privacy in DNA, there was a court-ordered release of genealogy information on a murder suspect from Iowa, I believe, who was living in New Orleans, or the murder took place in New Orleans, and they found a match to him in his family somewhere, but the match was not him. They did the actual the DNA testing for criminality, and they could not find a connection between he and the murder suspect. but they suspect that the murder suspect is related to this gentleman. It didn't work well. This whole court-ordered finding matches for criminality didn't work well because there wasn't enough information in this gentleman's family to be able to build out a tree enough for them to find other people to test, to try and figure out who it was that he may have in his family that were criminally suspect in this murder trial. So the matching and merging thing about having people finding information about you as a criminal doesn't work very well because genealogy looks for matches that are like people and criminal cases look for matches that are people. I just wanted to say that.
So the question on the test is, it's a regular paternity test.
Yeah, there wouldn't be a way to connect that to genealogical work. Although if the court hit the gavel and said that you are related to this person because of the paternity test, then that's legal and binding. It's not, but you wouldn't be able to use that information in a genealogical test.
It's not enough to say you're tested, you're proven to your father by DNA.
I guess you could put a statement on a profile citing the court case, but you'd have to figure out how to cite it so that a lot of the work in genealogy is you do citations so other genealogists can check your information, that can go behind you and verify the work you've done. If you're not able to do that, it's kind of silly to put it on there. So you want to be able to cite it so that other people can find that court decree or whatever it was and be able to use that information as well. So that's a little bit of a gray area for me, at least.
Okay, so another question. I understand DNA confirmed, at least regarding Y-DNA, is that having two DNA matching tests confirms to the MRCA. Otherwise, Doug is not sure what confirmed means.
I didn't get that question 100% there.
So when you match Y-DNA to Y-DNA, he understands that kind of confirmation. But I think he's asking about triangulation confirmation.
And triangulation is going to be covered. We're going to get in. That's a much deeper kind of confirmation, and we're going to be getting into that a little bit deeper in one of the upcoming live casts, and I'll tell you exactly which one. And hopefully Peter will be actually live, like his face and his voice, because Peter is so good. The upcoming one with that information is actually, we're going to be doing DNA features next week, and the one on the 13th will be regarding triangulation and DNA confirmation. So this week and next week, we're telling you how to get your matches and how to make your DNA work for you within WikiTree and finding matches and finding other people who match you. And then on the 13th, we'll be talking very in depth about the DNA confirmation tool, and triangulation will be a part of that.
And I think that's all the questions.
All right, that's good. We have a really cool, and I'm pulling this up right now, question of the week, which was, what is your most memorable genealogical discovery? And let me get this screen shared quickly. Here we go. And I'll get it up. I'm working one hand in here. It's not easy to do. Not easy to do. Okay, so our question of the week. Did you want to go through this, Emma, since Eowyn is AWOL?
I'm not seeing anything. Oh, I probably need to click on it to see it.
I thought I was sharing with everybody.
Oh, there it is. I have to click on it for some reason. What do you want me to share here?
You could just go through the information.
Whoa, my screen is gone wiggy.
Wiggy?
Yeah, I don't see it anymore.
Wait a second. That you're not Wiggy. I'm Wiggy. There you
Okay.
go.
Phew. What was your most memorable genealogical discovery? That's all I see on there. I'm gonna scroll. How many answers did we have?
We had 720 views. Holy moly. And we have, I don't see how many answers. Isn't that odd?
That is odd.
17 votes. Oh, I bet the answers are on down. 48 answers.
48 answers.
There's one here about pulling at heartstrings. The one about Anna Stenger, who lived in the 1600s during the 30 Years' War. She walked from Meisenthal to Strasbourg to buy bread for her children because the land they lived in had been laid waste by the war. She took her youngest son, Adam, with her because he had not yet been weaned. Upon her return, she found that her daughter, Anna, had died of starvation. And then the rest of the children, except for Adam, all died within the next few days. Isn't that crazy? That's horrible.
That is horrible.
Let's see. That was from Laura Bozet. And then Wayne Morgan says that he's inspired by all of his early relatives. No water, no running toilets. Let's hope they don't have any running toilets. No inside toilets. They had milk for children only. Cow, no electric lights. Craziness. You want to grab another one there, Emma?
I can't scroll, can I?
I can.
Yeah, you got to scroll down. You should go down to mine.
Where's yours?
There's a picture.
There we go.
So one more down. One more down.
Ah.
Haha. So when I first started genealogical research, I was 12 years old. And I knew that my 5th great grandfather was Orrin Porter Rockwell, but I had no idea who that was or what it meant until I became a little bit older. And this is my 5th great grandfather, Orrin Porter Rockwell, who was a friend to Joseph Smith and Brigham Young. He was their right-hand man. He was called the Destroying Angel. And he both hunted down outlaws and protected people in the Mormon church. He was very devout to his faith, but at the same time, you would consider him a gunslinger. So he's a very controversial man in the Mormon history. What a great picture.
Yeah, he looks pretty scary. So why is there a wanted poster out for him?
3 times he went to trial. I think this one in particular was they accused him of attempting to assassinate Governor Boggs, which
He was the governor of Utah or Ohio?
I believe it was Utah.
Okay.
Because they were trying to oust the Mormons from their place.
Ah.
And so this is his defense. He says, I've never shot at anybody. If I shoot, they get shot. He's still alive, isn't he? So.
That's pretty crazy.
Yeah. Multiple books and videos have been made about the man.
So, and here's one that's one of those that our ancestors do mean things to those of us who follow along behind as genealogists. This is from Alice Edwards, that my Scottish great-grandfather ran away to join the Navy. He didn't like it, deserted, changed his last name to his grandmother's maiden name. And she says what a time she had trying to solve that mystery. Let's see if we've got some other fun ones on down. Lots of memorable discoveries, but the most memorable would have to be finding out about the life and times of George Freeth. I talk about him all the time, and that's from Vicky Majewski. What the heck? What's up with George Freeth? He was born in Dudley, Warwickshire, England. Little is known about his early life. And he became a gold and silversmith. He married a few times. Oh, and then he and John Rigg were convicted of grievously assaulting a man named, Edwin Whitten. And they were both sentenced to 2 months hard labor. See, soon after, George decided to move his family to America. Where was that? All right, so he has quite the story, this guy. It looks like a good biography. Discovering somebody's half-sibling's father. Anyway, there was lots and lots and lots of really cool things. We have some information here on the Saturday sourcing sprints, which are ongoing every Saturday, along with the Sorcerer's Challenges on every Saturday and the Connection Combat that goes on. The Saturday sourcing sprints are a spin-off of the Sourceathon that went on last October, and which will hopefully happen again this October, where Julie and Eowyn and I will stay up for 72 hours cheering on all of the sorcerers and the people who aren't sorcerers who just joined the sourcing challenge, and try and get that done and get some of the sourcing on Wikitree up to par. So this month, Janine Barber is at 38. Ronnie Brooks is at 7. Amanda Frank is at 6. Joe Gill 7. Janet Gunn 5. Roz Haywood at 102. Debbie Hogue at 9. Robert Hvitfeldt is at 46. Edie Kohetek is at 5. Nan Lambert 39. Lucy Lavelle is at 0. She was too busy winning the spring clean-a-thon last week to do anything. And she may still be asleep. Tracy Layton is up to 4. John Noel is up to 150. Jim Parrish at 5. Stephen Schmidt is at 33. Lucy Savaggio Diaz is at 15. Liz Shiflett 9. Charlotte Shockey at 60. John Sussner is at 1, and Michelle Wheeler is at 11. If we don't have any more questions from the gallery, from the chat.
Well, Peter brought something up.
Oh, great.
2 questions.
Yes.
1, how should we coordinate making improvements? For example, getting testers to change their privacy level from red so that their information will populate in the tree. And how can we get more testers to upload to GEDmatch, which I would love to know the answer to that, because I wish everyone would upload to GEDmatch.
Yes. Yeah. Well, one of the things that we are doing actively in the DNA project is that we are working on getting people to leave messages for people who have the wrong, not the wrong, but the incorrect setting to auto-populate DNA information. And one of the past, I guess we could cover that for today as well, but one of the past Wikitree livecast, we discussed that at length, that we have tasks in the DNA project that we get people to help us out with information, and one of those tasks is privacy level changes, and we have several people that are working on that. We could probably add more space, and DNA helpers. The privacy level changes is to let people know that the lower 3 of the privacy settings are really the best settings to have for your privacy. Let me pull someone up here. Let's see. There we go. And we'll just pull mine up and I'll show you the privacy settings. And here are all the privacy settings for WikiTree. You can find it in the privacy tab on your page. The one that you need to have is the private with public family tree and public biography in public or open. In the public with a private with a public biography and family tree gives you this information, and I'll show you the public view of my profile. So it gives information that is public, and so you can't see my mother or my siblings or my spouse or any of my children's information. So it does keep your private information private, but still allows you the opportunity to be able to see the DNA tested information, which is down here on mine, down here. Also, this week we had a fun new thing roll out. If you notice on a profile, that you get a button that says Ancestors.
And descendants.
And descendants. Well, I don't have any of my descendants listed. They're not worthy of being on WikiTree yet. I guess I'll let them decide if they want to be on WikiTree. So you can click on Descendants or Ancestors, and it will bring up nothing.
Not working?
Yeah.
Maybe it's not fully functional yet.
All right. I have no ancestors on WikiTree, which is not true.
Oh, you're in public view. Does that matter?
Oh, it may be. That may be. Let me go back and do it again in private view. All right.
It shouldn't matter, but...
Well, let's see. It might. Let's see. Yes, it does.
Aha.
Well, we just discovered something new. So if you have it, if you are in your public profile, it won't work. If you are in your private profile, it will work. And it does show, and it shows all of my ancestors. How about that? And even though you can't see my mother's information because it's private, you can see her beautiful picture there.
Oh.
Aw. So yeah, that's a new thing that has come out this week. Very good. Thank you.
I like it. I really like that feature.
Yeah, it keeps you from having to do a bunch of extra clicking.
Yes.
Which I am quoting exactly from Lisa Franklin of Franklin Genetics, who is also a WikiTreeer and a DNA expert on WikiTree. So that's about it. Great things from WikiTree all the way around this week. And one of the best things is that DNA works, and there's also sorts of ways to find your matches. Just want
to scroll down. Scroll down.
Well, first off, I wanted to say that our shared tree, our numbers are 13,922,415 members, 419,943
Wow.
genealogists, volunteers. And what are we scrolling down for?
The featured person of the week.
Member of the week. Look at that.
That would be me.
And what's the story behind this picture?
My son drew that.
How old was he when he drew that?
12 or 13.
So Emma is the member of the week. You can read all about Emma, who was often my cohort sidekick. She will also be the cohort and sidekick on all of the upcoming DNA live casts. And we hope to have Peter in on this one. And possibly Kitty will be available for next week. You got to check that out, figure that out. That'll take some geographical shenanigans on my part. She's going to be in Montreal next week, which is just an hour and a half for me. So I might drive over and meet her and do the WikiTree livecast live from Montreal. So everybody have a great week and be safe, and we'll see you next time. I'm trying to work two computers here, and it's so hard to do. Bye-bye.